Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. Jackson and I are out doing one cast today, and we are on Bull Shoals again. River Run, boat ramp. Swan Creek is right up there. Swan Creek Campground. There's the 76 Bridge. The guy down there in the bass tracker, just talked to him. He's been fishing all day with shad and catching a few fish. He's a one cast fan. Well, we're gonna go up. I was up here last night fishing, and lots of white bass up here below the dam, but they weren't interested in eating. I think they were spawning. Water temps about 59, 60 degrees. So I really feel like tonight's gonna be, well, it's gotta be better. If I catch 3 fish, it'll be better. But we'll see. We're gonna go out, we're gonna fish till dark and see what happens. Well, I'm about a quarter mile from the dam, as you can see. Fishing on the foresight side. Afraid to kind of look in the sun a little bit. I don't even know what this is, but it's a blue, looks like a blue Rebel, but it's one of those $5 baits we sell at the office. It's a little jerk bait. It goes down about 4, maybe 5 feet, not very far. Not seeing a whole lot on the live scope, which doesn't mean a thing. So white bass are very aggressive. Especially when they're eating, because they run in schools, so they're very competitive. There is fish that are coming up and going through these big schools of shad now, which they weren't last night. If you can see what happened right there, something went through that big school shad and they all just scattered. When these whites hit this bait, they hit it real hard. I'm going to move up into the shade where the camera's in the shade, and that'd be kind of nice. Uh-oh. Okay, turn the camera. It's got some guys that are kind of fishing behind me, and they're moving down this way, so I want to stay ahead of them. I don't want to get in their way. Don't want to move too fast. All right, the guys below me just caught one. I haven't really noticed to see what they're throwing. They're not throwing a jerk bait. Sometimes you can, well, they do the same thing for trout. Those guys, they'll stop their retrieve. Sometimes they'll hit it when you stop it. So I was up here last night. I already said that. It's the first time that I could positively identify whites on my live scope. Like I said, I did catch one on a minnow, but they were, and it was a small male, but yeah, they are throwing a jerk bait. Maybe. It's about 6 in the evening, so we've got an hour or so before we get into the prime time evening bite. But the whites were schooling, but they were scattered. They were all over. There wasn't one area that had more than the other. I'll back out. They were all over the place. But there are a lot of them that look like they were just crawling on the bottom. That's what makes me think that they were spawning. Turn my live well off. So I think it's going to be kind of slow going until this evening. And hopefully they'll really turn on. Because I think a lot of them spawned in the last couple of days, yesterday, last night, whenever. So hopefully they will be ready to eat. And there's a lot of food up here to keep them here for a while. I can already tell there's a lot less fish on my live scope than there was last evening. There's still fish, there's still whites, but I'd say a fraction. A lot less than half. You know, they're supposed to run water at Taneycomo from 4 to 9 o'clock today. Well, it's past 6. So I was anticipating them running water here at some point, which I think will really help the bite. I'm going to switch to something else here pretty quick. This jerkbait is really good on whites right after they spawn. They're hungry, they're aggressive. And blue has always been my favorite color to use for white bass. Okay, let's try something else. I've got a 1/125th ounce of white. My live scope says I've got fish out here at 30 feet. A lot of whites. But this is what I did last night. For 3 hours, I'd see fish like this and throw at them and could not get them to bite. Water temp 62, almost 63 degrees. Yesterday it was 59 to 60. It's 13 feet deep out here. I'm gonna let this one go to the bottom. And I'm gonna change to something else after this. A lot of the fish are on the bottom, and then some of them are just scattered, but majority, if you're going to see fish, they're within a couple feet of the bottom. Well, I've tried trolling and I've tried the jerkbait for a while. And I'm getting a little discouraged because I'm not even seeing many fish on the live scope. Not even close to what it was last night. Not even close. But there's still fish here, so. There's still hope. Throwing the swim minnow on the 1/8 ounce head. I'm still seeing some fish on the bottom. Really hoping they start running water pretty quick. It is 7:15. Yeah, I'm tempted to go on down and fish a spot where we caught some whites and crappie the other day with Ryan and Wesley. Ryan and Greg. Just not seeing the fish on the live scope that were here same time yesterday. So let's go down. Okay, there's some laydowns along this bank. I'm still 11 feet. I'm going to work this all the way down past those trees. That is a snag. Let's go in and get it. Ah. This year has been so different down here. It's water's usually a lot higher, and they're running water on Taneycomo all the time because this is springtime, and the lakes are usually up, and they're usually running water. So this has got current. The creeks usually have current this time of year, so the fish are up spawning in those creeks. And none of that is happening. And there's usually a ton of people up here fishing on the banks, in the boats. Just not. And you ask why I come down here. Well, I debated. I could have went up to State Park on Table Rock and put in and fished for bass, smallmouth. Bill Babler said he fished the dam area yesterday and they had 50 bass, 30 some odd keeper, almost all smallmouth, and they were caught off gravel banks, you know, swimming a high-tech or kitech, just a swim bait. And you can put in a state park and start right there, just work that first bank and catch fish. And I was going to do that, and I kept thinking about all the whites that I saw up here last night, and I felt like they were spawning, which I still think they were. And thought, well, they're probably going to be done spawning, which they are, and they should still be up there because there's lots of food up there. That's where I went wrong. There are a few up there. But most of them left. And they could be scattered all down through here. I don't know. They do. White bass will stay together. They'll school. And for the most part. And they will feed after they get done spawning. Probably gonna get snagged here. That's where we caught some fish. It's between these two and down below. But when we fished, was it last Wednesday, a week ago today? There was current. They were running water. That's where Greg caught that 3.5 pound white bass. There's not many people up here fishing. Eight feet. Water's 65 degrees up here in the mouth. Live scope's not showing any fish, showing a bunch of shad. You know what? Right out of the mouth, there's a lot of topwater activity out in the main lake. Let's go out there and look around. I heard some, looked around, there were 2 schools of shad up out here, and they were fish up on the surface busted them. See what we got out here. Yeah, there's fish. There is a big sandbar. It comes out of the mouth of the creek and extends quite a ways out here. Like right now, I'm only in 8 foot of water. Well, this is another bust. I'm down below the mouth now. A lot of junk on the surface. Another bust. Another Bull Shoals bust. I have a lot of days on Bull Shoals where I don't do well at all, but I've had some really good days down here. Guess it just keeps bringing me back. There's a lot of big carp jumping. So I'm showing fish, but I got a feeling that they're carp. I've had live scope now for about 3 years, I think, and I haven't had enough experience yet to know the difference between the species of fish when you're looking at them. Yesterday I got a good look at white bass on the live scope, and I think you can tell white bass how they move. So they very rarely kind of stay in the same spot. They're always moving. Carp will just don't do anything. They just kind of sit around. I'm not seeing much now at all. Well, my buddy is still down there fishing around the pylons of the bridge. Lots and lots of shad. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to watch them on live scope. Let's see if you can. They probably won't show up now. The top right, that disturbance, those are shad moving across the top. A lot of shad on the surface. And there's some fish. Probably carp, I don't know. There's some shad right there. Anytime you see a big ball of, see at the bottom left, that's a big school of shad, small school of shad. I don't know, it's pretty cool to watch. If you're not catching fish, you can always watch live scope. There's some shad right in the middle. And more shad. And a lot of fish. Those that have not seen live scope before, that's what live scope looks like. And it's our job to translate what we're looking at. And then try to catch the stinking things, which is not easy. Well, thanks for watching. We'll be back on Taneycomo tomorrow, I promise. See ya.